Hey everybody, Ryan Chapman from B.A.S.E Training here. Now I'm out here on my partially finished deck doing this blog video about the essential gear for triathlons. This is part one. This is about the essential swim gear that you'll need to do a triathlon, as well as some stuff that's not so essential but is kind of nice to have. So we'll start with well, let's start with goggles, first of all. One of the main things you're going to need when you go out to do a swim throughout all your training and also in the actual triathlon is a good pair of goggles. So I've got a couple goggles here that I'll show you. This is a standard, pretty standard set of goggles here. Fits kind of around the eye socket. Seals with a sort of rubbery flange here. It has two separate eyes. This is pretty standard. Most people have goggles very similar to this. For me, these kind don't actually work, and that's because I have kind of a, well, I guess my wife says a prominent brow. It kind of sticks out a little bit here. So when I try to use a goggle like this, it doesn't seal on the sides here. So this doesn't work for me. It may work for you, but what I've come to find is that if I get a goggle that goes all the way around my entire eye area instead of individual eyes, that it works better for me. So I'll show you here what I've got. These are made by Aquasphere, and this is called the Seal XP goggle. I've got one that's tinted and one that's clear. So basically this goes around the entire eye area and seals around here rather than in each eye socket. Okay, so what's next after you have your goggles all settled and they seal good and you can swim without any water getting in your eyes? Well, you need something to swim in. It's probably okay to do a triathlon or do your training at least in for the guys, maybe a pair of board shorts or a regular old swimsuit or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you do get a lot of drag from something that's not tight fitting. I know for a lot of first-time triathletes, you know, wearing spandex and tight-fitting clothing maybe isn't at the top of your list of things to do. But I'll tell you, when I switched from wearing regular swimsuits to wearing a pair of tight-fitting triathlon shorts or swim shorts, it actually made quite a bit of difference in my training and in my swimming as far as drag. So I'll show you. This is a pair of triathlon shorts. It looks very similar to a pair of bike shorts. The only difference is that the pad is a little bit thinner, and it's a quick drying chamois. So it's thinner than a normal bike short, and so you can swim in it and it will dry out quickly for you. These ones are made by DeSoto, which is a San Diego based company. I joke around that a lot of times it looks like the owner of DeSoto dresses me when I go outside to do my runs and bikes and swims, because I love the stuff. DeSoto did not pay me to say that. They would not be very smart to pay me to say that for them when I have like maybe 9 blog followers. So, but anyway, DeSoto is a good company, and I like their triathlon gear. I would recommend wearing, for the guys, a pair of triathlon shorts like this to swim in. For the women, probably just a regular one-piece swimsuit works well for your training. You can do a pair of triathlon shorts and a tri-jersey as well. That also works. So anyway, that's a recommendation. I guess that would be considered not an essential, but it's so highly recommended that I included it here in the essentials, basically. Also, when you go to do your triathlon, you are pretty much for sure going to wear one of these. This is a swim cap. You know, just stretches over your head. I do not wear one of these when I train. I don't find them very comfortable. You do get some less resistance going forward with one of these on your head rather than, it depends on how long your hair is, I suppose, but this lessens the drag to. I don't find it necessary for my training. I just wear them in the races and put up with it. But you might want to get one of these. I think it's more for the women that enjoy this more than the men do in the training. I know my wife always wears one when she trains, so it might be something more for the women than for the men. Probably one of the most confusing things about doing a triathlon, or one of the hardest things to pick out when you're looking for triathlon gear for the swim leg, is probably the wetsuit. There's a lot of different kinds of wetsuits out there. There's ones that are shorts, there's ones that have no sleeves, ones that are full-length sleeves, partial sleeves, there's two-piece, there's one-piece. How do you decide which one you should get? Well, one way you can do it is you can rent a wetsuit of different kinds for going out and swimming open water in them and see how they feel. But it really is a matter of choice. My choice is a two-piece. This is made by DeSoto, as you might guess. This is the bib john, as they call it. It goes on like this, and then there's this second piece that goes on top of that. So this is the top of the line DeSoto wetsuit of about 2 years ago. I think it's called the First Wave by DeSoto, and I love this wetsuit. It's great. Two-piece is great for some things. It's really easy to put on compared to a one-piece wetsuit, and it's just about as easy to take. Then there's also the typical full one-piece wetsuit. This one's a Quintana Roo. It's called the Ultra Full. This is my wife's wetsuit. This is a really affordable wetsuit. It's probably about $170 for this wetsuit, which is about half of what my wetsuit was. It's one piece. You kind of got to get in here and get this zipper to work. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get on, but once it's on, great wetsuit, easy to get off, no big deal. Okay, so we've talked about what kind of wetsuit you might want to get, but we kind of skipped over when do you need a wetsuit. So my recommendation there is if you're going to do, if you're in the Northwest like I am, you're pretty much not going to have a triathlon where wetsuits are not legal. Wetsuits, I believe by USA Triathlon rules, wetsuits are not legal over, I believe it's 78 degrees of water. Even in the dead of summer, most of the lakes that are going to have a triathlon around here are not going to be over 78 degrees. It's possible for some of the smaller lakes, but not like Lake Washington or something like that. If you're doing something in the ocean, you're also probably not going to get to that, so they're going to be legal. But when do you want one? Well, I would say anything below about 65 to 60, probably below 67 degrees, you're really going to want a wetsuit. You start getting above 67, 68 degrees. I think the first triathlon that I did, it was about 65 degrees in the water. I did it without a wetsuit because it was my first triathlon. I wasn't going to go out and buy a wetsuit for it, and it was very, very, very cold. So I would say if you're planning on doing a triathlon in the 65 and lower range, you are definitely going to want to either rent or buy a wetsuit for your event. If you're above that, it's kind of optional. It is still recommended. Note that wetsuits, triathlon wetsuits, not surfing wetsuits, but triathlon wetsuits are designed to give you more float in the water and less drag, and will actually give you a faster swim time in most cases than swimming without one. So those are basically the essentials of the swim leg for triathlon gear. I hope you found this helpful.